Hi guys, today is the 30th of September 2019 at 10 minutes past 12 in the afternoon over here in the UK, and on the 28th of September I'll publish this video for the 2nd of October. Look out for Hawaii, Kilauea, Helena slump, mega tsunami for the west coast, and also, even though it's not in the title, a watch on London that was taken from the shark on the board, which is made up of 8 teeth, a 2 for the mouth, a pound coin symbol for the head, 8 being the Roman month for October, and the 2 being the 2nd, or possibly the 11th, but the 2nd seems to be a bit more in line with the other interpretations for October the 3rd, the 4th, also October the 1st and the 5th. But I've got some more stuff to add to October the 2nd in terms of watch. Between October the 2nd and October the 3rd, I'll be watching out for that 9.0 earthquake, whether it's in the Indian Ocean or the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean. I'm not sure, but obviously the Indian Ocean I've talked about before. But also it will be just before October the 2nd, China's 70th anniversary for the People's Republic of China, and that's October 1st. I think that may have connections to the iPad Go 2 video. Excuse me, let me turn the volume down. In this scene here, we may or may not have a reference to a 1, a 0, and an upside down 2 in the middle. There's many different ways of interpreting it, but what I do see is that if October the 1st is China's anniversary, then we have a possible reference to that with the fireworks in the background, considering we're on the Far East Peninsula, and the scene just before that appears to relate to some tanks which have connection to Tiananmen Square, and that was in association with protests. And we know that the Hong Kong protests are still going on, but there's also the reference to the sale of the Abrams tanks to Taiwan. The skeleton could be a representation of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln could also reference the USS aircraft carrier, which we know Iran has put out propaganda videos showing the destruction of at least 2 aircraft carriers. In my opinion, that would be the Abraham Lincoln and the USS Carl Vinson. Keeping a watch out for that. That may occur around the same time, but I think this is more closely associated with China sending in the army into Hong Kong, something we've been looking out for. The girls obviously carrying a white flag, and that's kind of like peace, but also, you know, flags and signs are used in protests, so it could be that the protesters are, you know, kind of giving up at the point where China's coming in, but China's decided after, I don't know, what is it, 17th week of protests, that it's had enough and it's sending the army in. And that could be after October the 1st, where they have their 70th anniversary. So that's something to look out for. At the same time, can't reveal it, I have to play it. On the chin, we've got the swirling pattern, which kind of indicates a hurricane or typhoon, as it would be called in that area. Let me just rewind it so you can see it. So you can see that on the chin just there. Now, it may or may not be a reinforcement of the interpretation, but we do have on October the 2nd a typhoon in the area, which is called Mitag, and that's October the 2nd, 12 o'clock midnight GMT time. So possibility is there. October the 1st passes with the, you know, anniversary, fireworks, stuff like that, hurricane in the area, hurricane on the chin, possibility of China sending in their military, so it's all there. At the same time, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I also had a watch on London in association with the Kilauea volcano and everything else there, with the interpretation for London on October the 2nd coming from the shark, it seems that there's a possibility of submarine activity, possibly in the Atlantic, which obviously could affect New York as well. So have to put a watch on New York as well for October the 2nd, even though I have a bigger watch on New York for October the 3rd. But this report came out higher than normal tides, prompt flood warnings and Thames barrier closure. So they had a test of the barrier closure on Sunday, and it's the 185th time the movable flood defence has been used to protect London from potential flooding. But they are warning that it could be used again imminently in the week ahead. So imminently is obviously urgent, soon, not long, and October the 2nd is just 2 days away, occurring on Wednesday. So that would be imminently and in the week ahead. And obviously, if I can just go back to actually, if on the iPad Go 2 video, in the shark, I'm gonna make it bigger, there's the 8 teeth, the tooth for the mouth, and the pound coin symbol for the head, 8 being the Roman month for October, then that would suggest possibly the reason for the warning of the Thames barrier being used again imminently in the next week may be related to submarine activity, creating a tsunami-like event in the Atlantic. Obviously we know that that is possible. The technology exists. So keep an eye out for those things. October the 2nd into October the 3rd. China, Hong Kong, London, flooding, New York, flooding, major earthquake, some point between October the 2nd and October the 3rd. And then the other videos, I'll talk about the other dates. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.